In this video, we'll be discussing section 6.2 from chapter 6 of P4. Okay, section 6.2 from chapter 6 of P4, and we'll be discussing the volume of revolution around around the x-axis. Now, before we continue the volume of revolution, let's talk about the area under a curve, which we learned in P2. Okay, now if you remember how we derived it, okay, so let's say that we have a curve, okay, y equals f of x, okay, y equals f of x, and you want to find the area under the curve from x equals a till x equals b. Okay, you want to find the area under the curve from x equals a till x equals b. So what you can do is that you can construct a small strip. This is how you did the derivation back in P2. Okay, you can construct a small strip. Okay, you can construct a small strip. Okay, and this strip is going to have this strip, even though it's not exactly a rectangle, you can assume it to be a rectangle. Okay, you can assume it to be a rectangle with height y. Okay, so it's a rectangle with height y, and its width is going to be delta x. Okay, you're considering a very small increment in x. Okay, so you're having a very small, very thin strip, okay, with height y and with delta x. Therefore, the area of this strip is going to be y delta x. The area of the strip is going to be y delta x. Okay, so this is equal to, okay, this is equal to your small area. It is not the entire area. We're just doing a small strip. We need to find the entire area over here, but we are doing just a small strip, and you can say that delta a is equal to y into delta x. Okay, now from here you can move on it in two ways. Okay, the first way is that you can say that delta a is equal to y into delta x. Okay, and this is approximate. Notice that this is not a exact relationship because the strip is not exactly a rectangle. If it was a rectangle, you could have said that it was equal, but over here it is not a rectangle. Therefore, we are assuming and we are approximating it. Okay, using the approximation symbol. So delta a, the small change in area, the small area, is approximately equal to y, which is the height, into the small width, which is delta x. Now this, we can take delta x to the other side. This, therefore, y is approximately equal to delta a by delta x. Y is approximately equal to delta a by delta x. Now, the more delta x becomes smaller, the more a becomes accurate. Okay, so as the width becomes more and more smaller, okay, the area is going to become more and more accurate. Let's say if the width was big enough. Okay, if the width was big enough, in that case the area is going to be only approximate, very inaccurate, because we are not considering this area. Okay, the more thinner and thinner the strip becomes, okay, the more we reduce the width of the strip, the more accurate does the area become. So we are going to take the limit for this as delta x tends towards 0. So as the limit as delta x tends towards 0, okay, when you take the limit for this function delta a by delta x, this changes to an exact relationship. So the approximate becomes equal to y equals dA by dx. Y equals dA by dx, and now we can integrate both sides with respect to x. We get a is equal to the integral of y with respect to x. Okay, where our limits are xa till xb. Okay, our limits are xa till xb. We have this point over here, xa till xb. On the other hand, you can also say that the entire area, okay, so delta a is approximately equal to y delta x. Now, if we construct all these strips over here, okay, in that case, the total area is going to be the sum of all the strips. Or in other words, it is going to be the sum of all this y delta x. Okay, and the total area A is equal to the sum of y delta x. Now, as delta x becomes smaller and smaller, each strip, okay, the overall answer over here, the overall summation becomes more and more curate, and the limiting value as delta x tends towards 0 for this expression becomes the integral. The sum changes to the integral symbol, and then we have y dx. Okay, so the summation symbol changes to an integral symbol when you take the limit, and this, from y dx the limits are the same over here, x and xb. Okay, so both these methods, okay, whether you try to use the delta a by delta x form or the summation form, in both the cases once you take the limit you'll arrive at the same answer. A is equal to the integral of y with respect to x from xa till xb. Now in a similar fashion we could have done, let's say that we have the same curve, okay, we have the same curve, and instead we want to find, here we found the area between the curve and the x-axis, but instead if we want to find the area between the curve and the y-axis, so let's say it's the same point A, we have the same point B, okay, and we want to find the area between the curve and the y-axis, okay, we can again start from the same procedure. We can again start from the same step where you're going to draw a small strip, a thin strip. Okay, so this is a strip over here, okay, a thin strip. Let's say we are dividing this up into thin strips. Okay, in this case our strip is going to have area delta A is going to be equal to x. X is the length of the strip, and the width of the strip is the small increment in y, delta y. Okay, so delta is equal to x into delta y. Now, okay, if you want to use the summation version, in that case A is then the sum of all these small strips, so A is the sum of all the x delta y. Okay, and then if you limit this to 0, A is the sum of all these small strips, and if you limit this to 0, in that case you get A is equal to the integral of x with respect to y. Okay, instead if you want to do the differentiation version, in that case the derivative version, that is delta A by delta y is equal to x, and delta A by delta y equals x, and if you take the limit on both sides, okay, if you take the limit on delta A by delta y and delta A y tends towards 0, in that case dA by dy is equal to x, and when you integrate this both sides with respect to y, you get back to this formula, A is equal to the integral of x with respect to y. In this case, since your variable is y, you'll have to use ya till yb. Okay, you're using the y of this the y version of this formula. So over here we are taking the area between the curve and the y-axis. So if we want, in this case for the x-axis, if you want to express this in parametric form, in that case it is going to be A is equal to xa till xb is going to become from ta till tb. We're going to use the t value. Okay, for y into dx by dt times dt. Okay, over here the parametric form is going to be, for A is equal to ya will become ta, yb will become tb for x dy by dt into dt. Okay, now so this was all the areas we were considering. Now let's move on to our topic that we concerned over here in this section. Okay, in this section we'll be discussing volumes of revolution. In other words, okay, we are revolving our, let's say that you have this curve, the same curve A, the same curve y equals fx, okay, and you're going to revolve this curve around the x-axis. Okay, so in the first version that you're doing, you're revolving this curve around the x-axis. So if you revolve this curve around the x-axis, okay, between x equals a, this is a, and x equals b, if you revolve this curve around the x-axis, in that case you have this particular kind of a solid, okay, Okay, so if you revolve this curve, around the x-axis 360 degrees around the x-axis, you'll get this solid over here. Okay, and this is a 3D solid. Now if you want to find the volume of this uh, solid of revolution, in that case we can start again from a similar approach that we did for the area. Okay, so let's break this down into a small disk, into small thin disks. Okay, so let's break this down into small thin disks. Okay, so we have this small thin disk. Now in the previous case we had strips. Over here, since this is a solid, we are going to have disks. Okay, small thin circular disks. Okay, so each disk can be considered to be a cylinder. Okay, each disk can be considered to be a cylinder. Okay, so let's say that its volume is we have a very small change in x, so we have delta x, and the volume is going to be delta v. Okay, and the small change in volume, the small volume that you have, is going to be equal to the volume of the cylinder, and the volume of the cylinder is going to be pi r square h. If you remember the formula from prior knowledge, the volume of a cylinder is pi r square h. Okay, where r is the radius of the circular surface and h is the height of the cylinder. Over here, if you notice, pi copies down, r square, r is your radius, and in this case r is actually the height of the curve, okay, which is y. Okay, so r is equal to y, so this is y square. Okay, this is y square. H is the height of the cylinder, and it is that small increment in the small increment delta x. So delta v is equal to pi y square delta x. We get our equation. Okay, this is an approximate relationship, because we are assuming that they're cylinders, but they're not exactly cylinders. Okay, and they have this curved edges over here. Okay, so delta v is approximately equal to pi y square delta x. Now we can either do delta v by delta x is approximately equal to pi y square, and then you can take the limit. Okay, as delta x becomes smaller and smaller, this is going to become more and more accurate, and therefore when delta x tends to 0, dv by dx is equal to pi y square, and therefore v is equal to the integral of pi y square with respect to x. The pi is a constant, so you can write pi outside the integral as well. It doesn't make a difference. This will have limits from xa till xp. Okay, because you're integrating with respect to x. Now, on the other hand, you could also say that our volume, the overall volume, is the sum of all these small cylinders. Okay, so the overall volume is the sum of all the small cylinders, and the small cylinders are pi y square delta x. So all the pi y square delta x, if we sum them up, we get v. Okay, again we are applying the same concept, that if delta x becomes smaller, the more thinner the cylinders are, the more accurate this answer is going to be. Okay, and as delta x tends towards 0, we end up at the same answer. V is equal to pi into the integral of y squared with respect to x from xa till xp. Okay, so this is part of our P4 syllabus, but in a similar fashion, let's say that if we had the same curve again, okay, if you had the same curve again, okay, but in this case we are revolving the entire curve around the y-axis, 360 degrees around the y-axis. So we have the same point A, we have the same point B, okay, and you're revolving this around the y-axis, so we get okay, so you have this same in this case you revolve around the x-axis, in this case you're revolving around the y-axis. In this case, if you try to prove the formula, in that case you'll be considering a small disk, okay, thin disk. Okay, let's consider thin disk. Okay, this thin disk is going to have volume delta V. Okay, it is a small volume, okay, which is approximately equal to pi r square h. R is your radius, and your radius is going to be x, so pi x square, and your height is going to be the small change in y, that is delta y. Okay, again you can use the same version. If you use the differentiation version, as delta y tends towards 0, dv by dt is equal to pi x square, and therefore v is equal to the integral of x pi to the integral of x square with respect to y. Okay, in this case will be, since you are using differential with respect to y, you will use ya till yb. Okay, and if you use the summation version, in that case v, the entire volume, is going to be the sum of all these small disks. Okay, so v is the sum of all these small disks, and that is going to be the summation of x squared pi x squared into delta y. As delta y tends towards 0, delta y becomes dy, summation becomes integral, and therefore you have v is equal to pi into ya till pi into the integral of x squared with respect to y from ya till yb. Okay, now we do not have this in our P4 syllabus, but just for reference, this is how you will be finding the volume. Okay, what we do need to know is that if we have a parametric equation, if we have the relation between y and x expressed parametrically, in that case v equals pi into this equation. You need to express this in with respect to t. Okay, so dx needs to be converted to dt. So in a similar way that we did for the a, okay, the area, okay, we can do the same thing over here. We get this is equal to pi into the integral xa xb becomes ta tb. You need to use the t values, and then we have y square, dx becomes dx by dt into dt. If you're using this version, okay, if you're trying to revolve it around the y-axis 360 degrees, in that case you'll have pi into the integral yb becomes ta tb for x square into dy by dt with respect to t. Okay, so again we need to note this formula because this one is not a part of a P4 syllabus. Okay, if you have to find the volume of a revolution at of 360 degrees around the x-axis, in that case it is going to be v equals pi into the integral from x till xb for y square with respect to x. It is y square. For area you had simply y. For areas you simply had y. For volume you need pi and y square as well. Okay, the parametric version is going to be pi into the integral from t till tb for y square into dx by dt with respect to t. Okay, now let's consider examples. The first example we will be considering is example 3 on page 69. Okay, in this one they have given us a curve. In this one they have given us a curve y is equal to, this is the region R shaded. Okay, y is equal to 9 minus x square. Y is equal to 9 minus x square. Okay, and they're not asking us to find the area. We already know how to find the area. We know we need to use a equals the integral of y with respect to x. Okay, over here we have said that this particular region R that is shaded is rotated 2 pi radians about the x-axis. So it is rotated this way. Okay, it is rotated 2 pi radians, or 2 pi is the same as 360 degrees, so 2 pi radians about the x-axis, and we need to find the exact volume of the solid generated. Okay, so the formula is going the formula you will be using is v is equal to pi, don't forget the pi over here, into the integral for y square with respect to x. Okay, this is the formula you'll be using because the entire thing is rotated across the along the x-axis. So pi into the integral for y square with respect to x. Don't forget the pi. We have the limits. The lower limit is going to be 0. The higher limit is this limit over here. We need to find that limit. Okay, we can easily find that limit by substituting y equals 0 into this equation. So if y equals 0, okay, into this equation if you substitute y equals 0, so 0 is equal to 9 minus x square equals 9, x equals plus minus 3, notice that this is the positive root, the negative root is on the other side, which you're not considering. So this is going to be 3. So the higher limit is going to be 3. Now we can easily integrate this. Okay, y squared with respect to x. Substitute the expression for y. We get pi into the integral from 0 to 3 for 9 minus x square the whole square with respect to x. 9 minus x square the whole square with respect to x. Now first step, expand the brackets. So we get pi into the integral from 0 to 3 for pi into the integral from 0 to 3 for 36 minus 18x square, 81 minus 18x square plus x raised to 4 the whole with respect to x. Integrate all three parts separately. You get 81x minus 18x cubed by 3, that is 6x cubed, plus x raised to 5 by 5 from 0 till 3. Okay, then this becomes equal to 81 into 3, that is equal to 243, minus 6 into 3 cube, 6 into 27. 27 times 6 is going to be equal to 162. And then finally you have 3 raised to 5 by 5, that is going to be 243 by 5. Minus the lower limit 0, when you substitute 0 into each of this, it will become 0, so the overall answer is 0 for this one. Okay, now this you can easily simplify using a calculator. You will get 243 minus 162 plus 243 by 5. This should be equal to, this is 81. This is 81 into 3 by 5, so 81 into 8 by 5, which is 648 by 5. 648 by 5. Yeah. Okay, so 648 by 5, that is 648 by 5 pi. Okay, that is your answer over here. Now, instead, let's say that, okay, even though your P4 is always going to ask you questions about where the region is rotated about the x-axis, let's say that instead a region, the same region we have, was rotated about the y-axis. Okay, it's the same curve. Okay, and this, instead of being rotated about the x-axis, it is getting rotated about the y-axis. Okay, 360 degrees. In this case, the solid that we'll be getting is going to be somewhat of this kind. Okay, here the solid is going to be somewhat of this kind. Okay, for this one, if you want to find the volume here, in that case you'll be using the other formula. Okay, v is equal to pi into the integral from something to something, we do not know what that is yet, of x squared with respect to y. What is the lower limit for x? What is the lower limit for y? The lower limit for y is going to be 0. The lower limit for y is going to be 0. The higher limit for y, the upper limit for y is going to be 9. Okay, because when x is 0, okay, y is equal to 9. Okay, notice that over here the limits were 0 and 3. Okay, because we're talking about x limits. Over here the limits are x and for y, so this is going to be 0 till 9. Now we need to find an expression for x square. Okay, if you notice, we need to express x square in terms of y, because we need to integrate with respect to y, so we need to express x square with respect to y. Over here you can easily replace this, okay, equation, and you can say that you can easily rearrange this equation. We can find that x square is equal to 9 minus y. X square is equal to 9 minus y. Okay, x square equals 9 minus y, and therefore this is equal to pi into the integral from 0 to 9 for 9 minus y, the whole with respect to y. Okay, pi 9 minus y, the whole with respect to y. then 9 minus y. Okay, so now you can easily integrate this. So you get pi into 9y minus y squared by 2 from 0 to 9. 9y minus y squared by 2 from 0 to 9. And therefore this finally becomes pi into 9 nines are 81 minus 81 by 2. When you substitute 0, you get 0 for both of them, and therefore the final answer is 81 by 2 pi. Okay, notice that the two answers are not equal because the two volumes are also not the same volume. Okay, here the volume was different. Okay, and this is the here the volume is different, and here the volume is different. Here the volume was taken by revolving around the x-axis, here the volume was taken by revolving around the y-axis. Okay, so in this case this is you need to remember this formula only, because you will not be asked to rotate around the y-axis, you will only be asked to rotate around the x-axis. In this case the formula is pi into the integral of y squared with respect to x. Okay, now let's consider a final example over here. For this example we will be having from exercise 6b, question number 10, and over here we are given a curve that has got parametric equations x equals t raised to 3 by 2, and y is equal to t raised to half. X equals t raised to 3 by 2 and y equals t raised to half, and we are asked to find the volume generated by rotating this curve about the x-axis. So we are rotating this curve. Okay, if we have x and y, we are rotating this curve about the x-axis. Okay, and between t equals 1 till t equals 3. Between t equals 1 till t equals 3. So again, our original formula is v is equal to the integral from xa till xb for y square with respect to x. Don't forget the pi. Okay, so pi into the integral from xa till xb for y square with respect to x. Over here we are given the parametric equations and not the direct explicit Cartesian equation. Therefore we will express dx as dx by dt. So this becomes equal to pi into the integral from xa till xb for y square into dx by dt times dt. Okay, so you are using the chain rule to replace dx with the dx by dt into dt. Now you can easily substitute the expressions. You get pi. This is going to be ta, and this is tb. We have changed our variable that you're integrating with respect to. So we have pi from ta is going to be 1, tb is going to be 3, y square is going to be the square of this expression, that is going to be t. Okay, y square is going to be the square of this, so that is t. And before I do this though, okay, yeah, y square is going to be the square of this, so that's t. And then we have dx by dt. Dx by dt is going to be the derivative of this with respect to t, so that's going to be 3 by 2 into t raised to half, 3 by 2 into t raised to half, the whole with respect to t. Okay, simplifying the expression, we get pi into the integral from 1 till 3 for 3 by 2. We can take 3 by 2 outside, so let's take 3 by 2 outside. 3 pi by 2, the integral from 1 till 3 for t raised to 3 by 2 with respect to t. Okay, now this is going to be simple integration. We have 3 pi by 2 copied down. We get t raised to 3 by 2 becomes t raised to 5 by 2, the whole by 5 by 2. T raised to 5 by 2, the whole by 5 by 2 from 1 till 3. T raised to 5 by 2 till t raised to 5 by 2 by 5 by 2 from 1 till 3. Now the rest is going to be substitution. We can take the 5 by 2 out, okay, because this is just a constant. So we have 3 pi by 2. If you take the 5 by 2 out, the 2 multiplies gets multiplied with the 5 by 2 to give it 3 pi by 5. Okay, into we have substitute 3, we get 3 raised to 5 by 2 minus 1 raised to 5 by 2. 1 raised to 5 by 2 is simply 1. Okay, simplify the expression. You'll get 3 raised to 5 by 2. You can use a calculator if you want to. 3 raised to 5 by 2 is equal to 3 raised to 5 by 2 is equal to 3 square into 3 raised to half, which is equal to 9 into root 3. Okay, so 3 raised to 5 by 2 is 3 square into 3 raised to half, which is 9 root 3. So simplify that and you get this is equal to 3 pi by 5 into 9 root 3 minus 1.